That seemed to work out pretty well, so I'll do it again. I forget what map this is, but I can't seem to get it all. I drew it too big. So we're circles and they're X's, right? So what we usually do is we end up here, or we do like one of these numbers, and it's not really optimal because of the correct, not angle, but I guess angle. I just don't want to say the same term. Um, but position, because then all you're doing is shooting to the other side, and they're shooting back, and so then it all depends on who sees who for longer and the DPS ratio, and then there's that zero point 0.2 seconds of a time period where there's a section where it's like you're blind to it because it's just the frame rate trying to catch up to each other, or the download and upload speed catching up to each other, and depending on how fast the internet server is of whoever server we're on, yada yada yada. So anyway, so it's not really optimal to do that because you don't actually know where the person is. And just FYI, it is about a half a second to download and upload depending on the server speed. So you need to account for that's why when you go like I was behind a wall, well yeah, because you're technically 0.5 seconds behind where you actually are, because the server needs to download and upload you. So anyway. I think it's like 0.21 of a second to download, then 0.21 of a second to upload. So it's about a half a second. Anyway, so you need to get more angles. That's why I say we need 2 and 2. So you split. So there's 2 people here that it can shoot and can guard main. And then so I usually come around here, or I dive in here, and so they don't have enough time to kill me at that long of a range. And so then I'm here, or I'm here, or I'm here, looking in on this direction. And so they're over here, or they're trying to flank around, or whatever it is. And so then we have more people on angles. And so over here, when you're here, you can't see anything past this area. So all they have to do to get out of your cover is to get out of this one spot and not shoot you anymore. Okay, well that's just a peek battle. Okay, and so whenever you don't want those peek battles, so you want to distract them by doing a poke battle maybe for a little while for Team A or the back pokers or whatever, and then you get the other guys that are peelers or flankers or whatever you want to call them, and I go over here and you go past this area and I go to here, and now I have an angle on them, and now I can see anything from here. Okay, well that's more area. And so now that I can cover what he can cover and what I can cover, I have the optimal position. This guy can move forward without having to worry because all this area is now off limits or he dies. And that's what I'm also talking about. Like there's no point of him pushing. He will now back off. He's forced to flee. And if there's a guy here, that's the guy this guy is now in charge of. So he pushes up forward. He pushes up to here. That way he can 1v1 him. And you should be able to 1v1 people. And so that's all it comes down to, is you're trying to get into the optimal position to give yourself the advantage during a push to make things happen. And that's what this is that you're trying to get different angles around walls instead of just simple, cuts off and damage rolls. You need to get within range. And so this range is within any kind of range. If you're a hand cannon or whatever, a hand cannon will usually be around this area to this area. And so it's still not the most optimal area. You need to have a submachine. That's why I always say submachine guns, because the way I play, at least, and the way I try to get my teammates to play is more aggressive. And it's because that's the meta right now, is that the DPS ratio from hand cannon to thing is it's like a half a second. And so you need to be able to kill faster, and that's what a submachine gun does. And a submachine gun to a hand cannon, the submachine gun will win if it has better accuracy. And anyway, so you need to, so it's like you have one guy who goes around, or you have 2 guys who go around, and then they don't both go here. That's the other thing, is you don't both go here. You have one guy here and maybe one guy here, so he can get the angle way down over there, and then he has another one who goes right here. And that way, if anyone comes around, this guy can set up here, and that way if anyone comes around this direction, which because they're going to, and then we're going to, and if we don't meet at the same time, this guy will set up, poke here for this guy to peel out, and this guy will come over here. There's a lot of lines. And so then this guy who came here and was now able to push, one guy can kill, and one guy can, and they have their battle, then this guy can peel this direction and help him out. And that way it's always a 2v1. Everywhere you go, there's a 2v1. And that's what I'm talking about, like angles and pushes and it's how much can you see that the enemy can't. And it's how many people can see each person that the enemy can't. And that way your flanks are initiated at the same time. That's why you need to be seeing this person. If you're this back person back here, you need to be paying attention that your teammate just went over here. And that it's now your turn. When the moment he hits here and initiates and you hear bullets, you need to be booking it right here, because then you need to be giving him cover or extra power, because the moment that he's seen, he's going to get shot at, because if you're not getting shot at, he's going to get shot at. And that's something that we don't know. And I need some people to figure out, because if there are no bullets going off, no one's getting shot at. There are bullets going off and you can hear it, someone's dying, and it's your team or the other team, and you need to be putting more bullets in them than they are you. And so when it comes from here, you really need to just book it over there. The moment you see our guy right here, because you can see it on the map, dude. You can. And you can see it on the map, and it's like, and the moment you hear bullets going off, you better deck it right here. And if there's somebody behind, you better deck it right here. And see how it's like we all of a sudden have the advantage? If we took that role, it would just boom. It would just be a game changer. And we don't do that. We just stand back here and poke for a little bit until one of us dies. Or then we get irritated, and then we run around to the side, and then the other guy runs around to the other side, and then it's just kind of like, well, now the middle's, and then they take over the middle, and then they can shoot down at us, or they can shoot to the side of us when we're coming into the middle, and then we die, and then we're like, well, what happened? Well, it's because we're both moving. We need two people stationary, and then two people moving. Because when you're moving, you can't shoot. You have to either be moving or shooting. And then if you're in the air, you also have less aim. It increases your spread. And whenever you hit the ground, your gun dips, which is also, you could lose because of that dip. It's just those little bitty things that we don't take account for. That, like when I see my teammate jump, I slide. When I jump, I expect my teammate to slide, because it gives that kind of like surprise for the teammate. And if my teammate sees me dip in, I expect my teammate to be right behind me to cover the guy that's going to be over here. So like, dang it, I just lost my marker. So at all this mess, when we had just this, and you had a guy that came in like this, and the enemy was here, and the enemy was here, and if I came in over here, and I would shoot this guy because he's low, and then I get him low, and I go in for the punch because I'm that stupid, you better have your tail end here fighting this guy so that this guy doesn't kill me going in. Because I can 1v1 him, especially if I can punch, and it's the same vice versa. If you go in and you go to punch him, I am going to have your back here because I'm here. And so it's got to be that same, versatility with the angles. And again, that's just a triangle. The whole thing's a triangle. That's what I'm talking about, triangles and angles.